Episode of Vault Talk with Raiders Chat Sports, Mitchell Renz, coming up next on Raider Nation News Today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the House that Hammer, built by the nation for the nation. Welcome to Raider Nation News Today. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday morning. I'm sorry for those on the West Coast that I woke up, but it is what it is. Those that are in here, those that are new in here, follow these three simple steps. Break them thumbs, hammer that sub, smash the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, and reactions. Great show last night with Violator. We're going to put some clips up with probably within the next 24 hours. And we are 124 away from 8K. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Without any further ado, let me bring my guest on. Another one who has not been in the vault in about 2 years. And it was around this time as well. Can't make this shit up. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitchell Renz.
Good, yo, what's up, Hammer? It's good to be here, my man.
Been a very, very long time. How's everything?
Yeah, everything is pretty good. Excited for the Raiders. Excited for this off season. You're finally able to hire AP. You get Tom Telesco, which I was not thrilled about the hiring at the time, but it's like a lot of things where, I think it's why I'm a Raider through and through, just because, something happens that maybe you're not 100% on board with. Then you're like, hey, you know what? No, I think Telesco, AP, they're going to do the right thing, and we'll continue to go there. But I'm doing good. I'm excited for this season way more than I was with the McDaniels years. That's a fact.
I think a lot of us feel that way. And with Telesco, I was one of those guys that when I got the news, I was a little nervous. I didn't know too much about Telesco at the time, but speaking to one of my guys, it was like, don't jump off the ledge just yet. Like, he has the experience. He made some solid draft picks with the Chargers, and he's really worked his way up from being an intern to being a GM. Like, give it a chance.
Give it a chance. Now, one of my buddies who's pretty tied into the NFL, he's from Pennsylvania, and he knows how much I used to always say when I was a kid, and even like now as an adult, like I love teams that are aggressive. And I always say on the Raiders report, I'm always like, dude, if we could figure out a way to get Howie Roseman, I would, like do almost anything in order to do it. But I do feel like Tom Telesco comes from that similar GM mindset of, all right, like I'm not just going to sit back, like, let's get aggressive. Let's go out and try to do some wild stuff. And, you got to give Telesco that credit. Like, he was not afraid to try to get big name players in. Yeah, the contracts were not great, but we know that the Raiders have Delaney. So maybe the contracts won't be an issue this time around. And I like the aggressive nature. I do think that sometimes you got to find the better fit. But the way that AP, the way that Telesco is going to be judged is what they decide to do at the quarterback position, what they decide to do on the offensive side of the football, because I have the utmost confidence in AP and Patrick Graham to be able to run that defense. They just hired two really solid coaches in Ricky Manning and Gerald Alexander. Like, that team, like, it sounds crazy for a Raider fan to say, I'm not worried about the defense, right? Like, I am focused on building that offense. And I hope it's Cliff Kingsbury. I hope it's Zach Robinson, though I'm pretty sure Robinson's going to take a job today with the Falcons.
Like, you're talking about quarterbacks, but ultimately right now for our offense, it's going to start with whoever our offensive coordinator is. And there's a lot of candidates that have been in the mix recently. You just mentioned Zach Robinson. You have Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy is more of a guy that is a run style of offense. The last 2 years, they led the league in both attempts and yards. So I don't know if I necessarily want to go with a guy like that. Like, granted, that run game also went through Justin Fields as well. Zach Robinson is a guy that is what we need. A run play action, deep shot style type of offense. Cliff Kingsbury, we know the air raid it's relied on the passing game. It's more of like a 65 or 70-30 pass. And at the same time, like we're thinking about, is Jacobs going to be back? Don't we want to see a two-headed monster moving forward? Because we saw what Zeus was capable of towards the tail end when Jacobs was out. You also have
Yep.
Alex Van Pelt. You have Mike Sullivan and Thad Lewis as well. And you just said it. Like Kingsbury's a guy that's on the list, and now you're saying Robinson might be presumably going to the Falcons. I'm kind of disappointed to hear that this morning.
Yeah, well, I know we got a guy at Chat Sports who's pretty well tied in with the Falcons. And one of the reasons why Atlanta decided to go with Raheem Morris is because Morris, also part of that Rams coaching staff, said that if you hire me, I'm going to be able to bring in um, I'm going to be able to bring in Zach Robinson to coach the offense. And then we got that. We said it on the Raiders report. And then, like, I'm not kidding you, 4 hours later, Schefter reports like Zach Robinson, top candidate for, the Atlanta Falcons. So, like, I'm always like that. I say it all the time on the show because I do think like that's the way that the NFL works, where it's a boys band, right? Like you got to follow the tea leaves. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So when we get a message like that, then Schefter reports it. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty confident Robinson's going to go to the Atlanta Falcons. But like if I was the Raiders, right, and I think if you're going to build this offensive side of the football, and this was an idea I threw out probably about a week and a half ago when we were told that Luke Getsy and Cliff Kingsbury were both going to interview on the same day, and I put out a video probably like 10, that was 7, 8 days. The days are blending together. But the idea was around like we know Cliff runs air raid, and just because like Cliff is always like spread it out doesn't mean that his offenses haven't also been able to run the football at a pretty decent clip. I think people just think, all right, we're just going to drop it back and chuck it 50 times a game. I don't really think that's the case. But like to me, if I'm the Raiders, like I do think like hiring Getsy is not a bad move, but not as the OC, right? Like when you go back and you look at some really good offenses. And, you go back and look at, I think the Rams are a really good job at doing this where they're, they'll try to bring in like OC candidates and then, all right, well, you didn't get the OC job. However, if we can build this like awesome room together, get a lot of really good minds together, like that's going to build a good offense. And you might not get a job this year, but you might get a job next year. You might get a job down the road. And like right now, I don't see Getsy getting an OC job, right? Like I don't see any NFL team out there that would be willing to hire Getsy as an OC. So if you're in that standpoint, you go, do I not work for an entire season, or do I become a quarterback coach, which Getsy has done in the past? Do I become like a run game assistant coordinator? Like you do that. So like if I'm thinking about building the offensive side, I think you got to think about the way that they're building the defensive side. So you do both of those things there. So if you were able to hire Cliff Kingsbury to run like the passing situation, right, and really understand everything you're going to do in the passing game, and then you bring out a guy like Getsy who's got all that run experience. The Bears the past 2 seasons top 2 in the NFL in rushing yards.
Yep.
So you do both of that kind of thing. Like, could that build more of a balanced offense? Getsy, you handle all the run and stuff. He also has experience working with a mobile quarterback. Hey, you know what, Cliff, you're going to work with our passing concepts. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. And it would definitely make sense if they can make some type of move like that. Like, again, we were just talking about Getsy and what he did with that run game. Yeah, you could be a run game coordinator. You could potentially be a quarterback's coach. I ultimately think that after this weekend, after the conclusion of this the conference championship games, that they'll ultimately have a decision. You still have 2 other teams in the league right now in Washington and Seattle that are still looking for their head coach. Same thing. They're probably waiting until after the wrap up of this weekend to make their decisions.
Yeah, I think it's Dan Quinn in Seattle. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Patrick Graham, he's staying." I do think that Patrick Graham is ultimately going to stay,
Yeah.
but I think it's because they're going to hire Dan Quinn. If Dan Quinn goes, "Hey, you know what? I want to remain the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys," and I think one thing that people got to understand is staying DC in Dallas is, more valuable than I would say some head coaching jobs out there. So like if Quinn maybe has something very similar to, like if I was the Cowboys right now, I would give Dan Quinn a raise and I would make a contract the way that the Patriots made a contract with Gerard Mayo, where it's like,
Professor.
it is, hey, if Mike McCarthy fails, you're the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's already tied into the contract. You don't need to do the Rooney Rule interviews of that. Like that's why New England was able to hire Gerard Mayo right away because they put it in his contract that no matter what, once Belichick's gone, Gerard Mayo is going to get the job. Like that, if I'm Dallas, that's how I try to keep Dan Quinn. If I'm Dan Quinn, I see a really cool opportunity here, and I go to Seattle and kind of go back to I would say where he got his start, right?
Yeah.
Like you go back there, you get started. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, they're obviously looking for a defensive-minded coach. To me, if it's not Dan Quinn, it'll be Patrick Graham. Washington, they're going to hire Ben Johnson from Commanders. I already know that one, so that's a done deal.
There's a reason that Washington's waiting, and when it comes to Seattle, I've talked about this over the last few weeks, especially since Carroll was gone. I was like, it kind of makes sense for Dan Quinn to go back home. Like, I don't see why he would not. That dude was an architect for the Legion of Boom. I think it makes complete sense. And maybe when it came to Patrick Graham, it was a bit of a Rooney Rule protocol type bit where they did have him in, but it's tough to say right now. There is somebody in the chat that has a question. Shout out to Bourbon.
What's up, Urban?
Who are some players you guys think the Raiders should poach from the Chargers now that Tommy T is here? They're going to have to dump some guys and fix their cap. Also, they have some free agent resigns.
Well, first off, the Bears, they just hired their defensive coordinator, Eric Washington. I mean, I'll go with the unpopular answer that I was discussing just because it's kind of more of a big name. But like, if the Raiders are going to go with an offense that's like Cliff Kingsbury, right? And they're going to go more spread. They're going to, really try to go vertical, get a lot more speed, and that's what they're going to do. Would you rather have Josh Jacobs at $9 million? Let's say the Raiders are able to re-sign him for $8-9 million, or would you rather go out and sign a running back like Austin Eckler, who Telesco found, to be able to put in the spread at, let's say, $6 million? Like, I love me some Josh Jacobs. I know Jacobs is very well tied in with Antonio Pierce.
Right.
But to me, I think Austin Eckler is a better fit in an offense ran by Cliff Kingsbury when you pair him with Zamir White compared to if you were to bring back Josh Jacobs again. Now, again, this is me solely basing it on Cliff Kingsbury offense. But like, I think Austin Eckler would be an intriguing option if you wanted to still have a veteran running back, if you didn't want to go into the draft with running back to pair with Zamir White. Personally, I would go in the draft, but Khalil Mack's not going to happen. I'll throw that too.
Everybody's been on the whole Khalil Mack kick the entire week since we got to Lesko, and I'm sorry, but we're good. We're set on the edge right now with Kuntz. Kuntz has another year in the contract, and if he has another year similar to this past season, don't be surprised if we do give him an extension. I don't think we're just going to let him walk with this production, especially with AP in the building now. And Tyree Wilson, I'm telling you guys now, best thing they could do is kick him to the inside. And when he was drafted, I said that there was a chance that he could be playing back and forth between the edge and the interior. This is a guy that's going to have a breakout sophomore year. Mark my words. Look, he's going to have full OTAs. He's going to have training camp. He's going to have preseason. He missed a lot last season, didn't show up until like the last week of the preseason.
Yep.
He's going to be ready to roll this season. Mark my words on that. Let me see where we're at. Vrabel to Seattle.
What?
The last Don said Vrabel is going to go to Seattle. Trust me.
I mean, I think that they're definitely looking at a defensive-minded coach. Like if Mike Vrabel goes without being a head coach, I think it'd be kind of surprised. I mean, that's definitely like the way that it's kind of trending, him or Quinn, because to me, he is a top 32 coach in the NFL. I'd go to bat on saying that, but I totally agree with you on Tyree Wilson. Chugs and we were screaming it from the rooftops for a long time. And, I know that some people wanted to bring in Khalil Mack, but I mean, Malcolm Kuntz, after Antonio Pierce took over, had 8 sacks in that like 9-game stretch, right? Like he was a phenomenal player. To me, though, if I'm going to spend big this offseason, like you obviously got to figure out your offensive line. I'm hoping Andre James comes back. I've talked to Jermaine Illuminor. I know Jermaine wants to come back. He wants to get his family, keep his family. They just had a baby girl. They want to keep their family in Las Vegas, but he also understands like he wants to get himself a payday. But like, if I'm the Raiders, I try to sign a big name defensive tackle. Like I'm talking Justin Matabuke, Christian Wilkins. I think Chris Jones is going to be a little bit too expensive, but I'm not going to sit up here and say I wouldn't love to have Chris Jones, though I think he's going to be looking in that $30 million a year range. But the reason why I would sign a big name defensive tackle, and if that's where I'm going to spend my money, I would do that to help Tyree Wilson out. Like, I think Wilson was put in a really shitty situation because Chandler Jones was, I mean, let's
In his
call it
own
what it
head.
is,
In his own head. We'll just leave it at
right?
that.
Like, and the Raiders were hoping that they would have Chandler there to be able to, kind of ease Tyree Wilson into it instead of just throwing him into the mix. And
Right.
man, you saw he was a lot better at the end of the year compared to the where he started. And people don't realize, I mean, you said it, you miss all that time. Like, there's a difference between being in shape to football shape. And then, you got to learn a brand new defensive scheme. Like we saw, I mean, Malcolm Goods is a perfect example. Trevon Merrick is another example where it's not as easy as just going out there and playing ball. Sometimes you got to learn it in that system, and it takes that second year to understand instead of the not thinking and reacting, right? When you're playing at such a high level, it's you got to be able to react. It's not, okay, no, I should do this and then react, because then you're too late.
That's when you're overthinking, and that's when you mess up on the field. Trust me, I've gone through it a couple of times playing linebacker. I got in my head a couple of times and should have just played the way that I knew how to play. You talking about the interior, and this is one thing I've been talking about a lot going into this offseason. I got 4 free agent defensive tackles that I absolutely would love to have. Chris Jones, I know he's going to be commanding a ballpark of like 28 to $30 million a year. We saw what happened early in the season with KC and how he sat out until they gave him a little bit extra money. Leonard Williams is another guy I have on my radar. Matabuki, you talked about from the Ravens. I always seem to butcher his name or forget his name, and it's no disrespect to him. And
I do
Christian
it all the
Wilkins,
time.
like Christian Wilkins as well. Like, those are 4 guys that if we can get one of them, I'm happy as hell. On the offensive side of the ball, for right guard, I would love to get Robert Hunt from Miami. Dude has
Yep.
done a very, very good job with them. I think he would be a solid upgrade compared to the likes of Alex Bars and Van Roten. Like, we need that. I'm surprised to hear you say Andre James, because a lot of people have been like, no, he's not it. We need to get rid of him, and either we move Parham to center. He didn't do a bad job when he was in there for James, or
Yep.
we go and get a center in the draft. Why would you want Andre James back?
Every single year, James gets better. And I think a lot of the times when I look at a quality of a center, quality of any football player, I want to see a guy that makes improvements. And Andre James, from the first time he started at center to the second year he started to where he was in the third year, James, I would say, is above average center, right? Let's say he's the 12th best center in the NFL, which I think a lot of numbers back that up. He's got a PFF grade over 75. Like, Andre James is better. The reason why, though, I do think you got to bring back one of Andre James or Jermaine Illuminor, because what I don't want to happen this offseason is I don't want us to have to fill 3 spots on the offensive line, because right now you got Colt Miller at left tackle, Dylan Parham's the other starter, Jermaine Illuminor, Greg Van Roten, and Andre James are all free agents. And that offensive line, whether people want to admit it or not, it was a much better offensive line than what they were given credit for. It was a top 12 O line by just about, I would say, every important metric out there. So, like, I don't think it was nearly as bad as what people think it was. So to me, I'm trying to figure out a way, okay, because I don't know if I want to roll with a rookie center and potentially a rookie quarterback. Like, I want to keep this offensive line a little bit more together. That way you can spend big at defensive tackle. You can go out there and maybe get your new quarterback a star wide receiver that needs a little bit more speed, because when you listen to Antonio Pierce talk, he talks about how he wants to go more vertical. He wants to take more deep shots. I mean, that's not what this Raiders offense right now. Like, I love me some Jacoby Myers. I love me some Devontae Adams, but that might be the slowest top 2 wide receiver duo in the National Football League. Like, yes, you have Trey Tucker, and I get it, that speed. And Jacoby Myers is a hell of a receiver. Devontae Adams is a hell of a receiver. But I am curious to see if they decide to add a little bit more speed based off of some of the things that AP said. I do want to get Michael Mayer involved a little bit more, but I would try to bring back one of Andre James and Jermaine Illuminor, because I don't want 3 brand new players on the offensive line. Because to me, you need continuity, you need chemistry, and adding 3 new bodies does scare the hell out of me.
I wouldn't mind having a Luminor back. Definitely a really good guy. Like I've said my bits and pieces when he's messed up at times, but he's still a solid dude. I'd much rather if I had to choose between the two of them, between him and James. I'm sorry, but I'm keeping the Luminor.
I mean, I love me some Jermaine. He wants to play right tackle. Right tackles sometimes command some money, though centers a lot of times command a little bit more. It'll be interesting to see where they go. I kind of agree with you though. I would love to be able to figure out a way to keep Illuminor.
Salute to Daniel Kim on the 499 Super. I haven't had this hype for the offseason and our team in a while. Jalen Johnson and get interior defensive tackle would make our defense elite thoughts. I've been talking about Jalen Johnson for several weeks now. I actually got a short I'm going to put out. I was looking at the live we did with Violator last night, and one of the clips popped up with what I was talking about in regards to Jalen Johnson and Jack Jones as our corners. That would be scary. I would not mind that at all. And those are guys, that's me putting my GM hat on. It would be defensive side of the ball, would be try to get Jalen Johnson and one of those four defensive tackles. We worry about the offensive line, maybe trying to get Hunt in free agency as well. And then everything else we try to go through the draft.
Yeah,
I
I,
know
I love me some Jalen Johnson. Also, I see my guy Taino Raider in the chat. What's up, Taino?
solid dude in the building. If we get Chris Jones and that's 2 games, Andre James won't compromise. Damn, went there. He
I mean,
went there.
Andre's a little bit undersized. I'll tell you this: if McDaniel's was still the coach, then I think that they would have put Parham in at center, and then they would have tried to figure out the left guard, right tackle situation.
I definitely like what I saw out of Parham, and we know Parham is versatile across the line. So it's like you were able
Yep,
to plug and play him in with no problem. I'm like, okay, I'm here for this. We'll see though. Now you have
he's super intelligent.
somebody in the chat was talking had made a comment before. Please stop with the Devonte Adams trades. Do you really think he's going to go somewhere right now?
No, I saw it as well. I mean, I don't really understand why the stop of the Devonte Adams trades. It's maybe just because I'm not afraid to say if you want to get the number one overall pick, and if like there's been some rumors out there that the Raiders probably could. I mean, recently I've said the only player that I would not trade is Max Crosby. I think anything else would potentially be on the table.
Right.
Um, I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked Devonte Adams trades and probably since the deadline.
Like I've been
But
hearing it for several months now, like living on the East Coast, listening to ESPN Radio New York, and
sure,
they you know, they cover the Jets, and it's like a daily thing. No matter whose show it is, they bring it up. And I've had to call in a couple of times. Like Michael K went off on me last week and tried to shit on the nation um, when we were talking about Antonio Pierce, and he's like, "Well, it's not up to Max Crosby, and it's not up to Raider Nation. Like if Mark Davis was going to listen to either one of them, he'll be sitting on the sideline in the seats with the fans. Like, dude, cut the shit. Like we all saw what we saw. We knew it made sense. And look, realistically, and no disrespect to Mr. Davis, he smartened up. He got rid of McDaniels. Wish it would have done a little bit sooner. We
yeah,
saw what the wild card team was like 10-7. And I said moving forward, especially with what this division's looking like moving forward, you're gonna have to be 11-6 and above to remotely even get a shot or a sniff at the playoffs moving forward because the AFC is definitely the toughest conference in the league, incredibly competitive. You had teams that you didn't think were going to make it. Like look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh somehow finds a way year in year out under Mike Tomlin to be over 500 and somehow sneak their way into the playoffs. Now
yeah,
Tomlin's on the last year of his contract. He does. This is the first time he's been going into a season on the last year of his contract. He obviously didn't want to address it after that loss, but uh, I don't know. Anything's possible moving forward. Like, who's to say that they don't try to run it back and maybe be a playoff contender again? And look, he'll get another extension. Dude is one of the longest tenured coaches in the league as it stands right now.
yep. Luke Getzey, who's going to interview for the Patriots offensive coordinator job, that just came in. So could be an opportunity. I mean, I didn't think that he was going to get an opportunity to be an OC, but with an interview that late, maybe they get something. I mean, I don't think that Devontae Adams is going to go anywhere. I also don't know when I would have talked about it yesterday, just because the video that I did yesterday was around Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm not 100% sure, but I I know that the Raiders are going in the right direction. I do know that there's some legitimate rumors around them potentially trading up to number one, number two, number three. My point is always, if you can get yourself a franchise quarterback, you got to figure out a way to do it. And if somebody says, "Hey, I need Devontae Adams," I if it works, right? If it don't work, it's bad. Like it's bad. But if it does end up working, like if you're able to find somebody that can compete with a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, it's worth way, way more than Devontae Adams, and it's not close.
Do you think that we could do something? And I'm not saying necessarily trading all the way down or up rather to like the top three, but like getting somewhere in that ballpark of like anywhere between like 6 to 8, 6 to 9, and trading up with our first and maybe this year's third or next year's third, and being able to get one of those spots and make a trade for one of these quarterbacks.
See, I am in the camp of if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you have to make a trade way before draft day. And if you're going to make a trade, you got to figure out a way to get in the top three. Like, what to me, the worst case scenario that the Raiders could possibly do is if you say, okay, I'm not going to trade in the top three. I'm just going to wait until draft day itself. And then you don't go out and you don't trade for a Justin Fields. You don't try to sign Russell Wilson to a super cheap contract. You don't go out and try to sign even like a Kirk Cousins, which I don't love the idea of signing Cousins. However, though, like if you miss out on those are the three quarterbacks that are outside the draft that I think actually give the Raiders a legitimate chance to win football games. Like you can't roll into the season with Aiden O'Connell again. Like that cannot happen. But I do think you are taking a risk then if you're like, all right, well, I'm just going to wait for the draft and hope that Chicago, Washington, and the New England Patriots don't take Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. And you're hoping that one of those guys falls down the board where maybe then you have the opportunity to trade up for Arizona. Like if those three QBs go off the board and you don't trade for Fields, sign Kirk Cousins, or go out and get Russell Wilson, and now you're kind of stuck in this area of, oh no, we don't want to roll into the season with Aiden O'Connell. We have to find a quarterback in the draft. Like to me, then that's when teams get in trouble of, okay, are we going to draft a Bo Nix? Are we going to draft a J.J. McCarthy? Are we going to draft a Michael Penix Jr. at 13? Like, to me, that if the Raiders took any of those quarterbacks at pick 13, I would be so upset, so devastated because they're not – J.J. McCarthy's not ready to go yet. Bo Nix is not ready to go yet. Michael Penix Jr. not ready to go yet. Like, if you're gonna bring in a guy like Bo Nix, I would want them to sign Kirk Cousins, let Cousins be the quarterback for 2 years, and like let Bo Nix learn, and then in the third year you give it to him. I'm just not a Bo Nix guy though.
Yeah,
I know some people like him.
I was going to ask you about that because I did see a couple of your tweets on X yesterday, and
Yeah.
Bo Nix is a guy that I've talked about. I didn't get to the opportunity to watch him a lot this past season, but the last 2 years I watched. But this year he had a PFF grade of 93. He threw 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yep.
His completion percentage is 77%. Like,
Yep.
I don't see what people are not seeing in Bo Nix right now.
When you watch a lot of his tape, just the amount of easy throws that he was asked to do at Oregon. Like my biggest knock on Nix is it was a lot of checkdowns. It's a lot of bubble screens. It's a lot of yards after the catch in Oregon. And in that offense, they made it very simple. I will admit, one of my things that I always talk about at any position, especially quarterback, because it's one of the reasons why I love Jaden Daniels, is where Bo Nix was compared to where Bo Nix is unbelievable to me, right? Like when he was at Auburn, I was like, this guy's never going to make it. Got better and better and better and better. And that's a quality that I do think people need to have. He's also, though, been in college football for, it seems like, forever. He's a lot older. Like, to me, if you go out and you get Bo Nix, that's hitting a single to me. When the Raiders need a home run, you got to go find somebody that can dethrone Patrick Mahomes. 6 straight AFC championships. They own the AFC West right now. Like, Bo Nix is a good, like, you're hoping, like, Bo's an Alex Smith type of quarterback. He's a good athlete, not a great athlete. you got to put him in the right system. If he goes in the right system, you're going to be able to win 10 games. Like, you're going to be able to win 9 games a season. I just don't think it takes you to that next level of being great. But when I watch a lot of tape on Bo, it's like there's a guy running down the field 20 yards open. That in the NFL, an NFL quarterback needs to be able to make that throw. Bo goes, I'm not going to make that throw. I'll dump it down and I'll get 5 or 6 yards. In the NFL, that 5 or 6 yard dump check down, it's not going to be there. Like, you're going to get 2, 3 yards. And what NFL teams are going to do I think they're just going to crowd the box on him and they're going to say, beat me deep. Now, he has a good deep ball. I just don't know at times if he trusts himself enough to make consistent throws. Like, the offense Oregon ran was just super, super perfect for Bo. He mastered it. I mean, he has the leadership qualities. He has I always talk about, like, NFL teams take on the persona of their leaders. When Bo Nix was in that huddle, that entire Oregon offense looked at him with the utmost confidence. And that's all that you could hope for at the QB position. I don't want the Raiders to take Bo at 13. If you want to trade out of the first round and maybe he's still there in the second, I don't think he'll be there in the second. Like, that's where I would target. And then Penix, I love Penix. Like, I think he would fit pretty damn well in a Cliff Kingsbury offense. But his injury history, that scares the hell out of him. Like, that dude's got injuries out the wazoo. And even you saw it when he went up against an NFL caliber defense in the Michigan Wolverines, how he left that game. Like, Bo Nix is talented, or Michael Penix Jr. is talented. He can make any throw. The one that I'd be the most upset about, though, is McCarthy. That one can't.
I keep telling people McCarthy is definitely a guy that's probably a 2. When it comes to Penix, yeah, the injury history is the one thing that frightens me. And lefty, we would definitely have to find a veteran, a solid beast at right tackle to protect his blind side. So that's something I don't know if I want to take the necessary chance on that. But Jaden Daniels is a guy I've had on the radar. Nix has been there for me in the event that these other quarterbacks aren't there. Like, I've done several mock drafts, and it constantly shows that, like, it's Nix at 13. I'm like, we have to figure out a way to move up. And we talked about Fields a little bit before. Like, we see that the Falcons got Raheem Morris. They passed on Belichick. I do think that they still try to take a shot because Ritter's not it. I think that they're going to probably be the team that tries to go for Justin Fields. And then it's going to be like, what's there for us? Like, people are saying, what about Russell Wilson? On a league vet minimum? Maybe, but I would still attempt to try to draft a quarterback as well. A quarterback that could be the quarterback of the future, develop behind Russell Wilson and see what the possibilities are.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like the idea around Russell Wilson, but when you hire Antonio Pierce, you're hiring this to be a win now team. Like, you're not going to hire an interim head coach to do a rebuild. Right. You're hiring an interim head coach to win right now. And Russell Wilson at $1.21 million, I do think is an intriguing option. And, you know, for a lot of people, this was a topic that I talked about 2 weeks ago. The reason why it makes sense for Russell to do that is because this is me basing it off of what I think Russell Wilson wants. Russell Wilson wants legacy over money right now. He's got all the money in the world and shit. He might not even, he's probably not the breadwinner in that relationship, right? So, like, once he gets cut by the Denver Broncos, which I am very confident that they are going to end up doing, it's just like the Derek Carr situation, and teams know that they're going to end up moving on from him. Once he gets cut, he gets $89 million in his pocket. $89 million in his pocket for getting cut. So then, if you're Russell Wilson, you go, okay, I want to try to build my legacy. I'll sign the vet min at 1.21. That way, whatever team I'm on, they can build around me, and I can say F you, Denver. On top of that, though, because of Russell's contract and a lot of the guarantee monies that they gave him, if he signs for $1.21 million, the Denver Broncos get a credit. They get a credit of 1.21. So essentially, the way that his deal ends up working out for this upcoming season is if he signs $40 million with a team, he's also giving $40 million to the Denver Broncos. Like, if I'm Wilson, yeah, I could use an extra 40 mil. Who couldn't? or though, I could make 1.21 because I already put 89 million in my pocket. And then the team that I feel like F me over, I can say F you, and you're only going to get 1.21 mil. Like, again, this is me basing it off of if I already had over $250 million in my bank account, if my wife made more money than I did, thinking about that, like there's a chance that Russell Wilson hasn't taken a dump in every one of his bathrooms in his house. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have enough money to have 12 bathrooms in your house, you take the Vetman deal at 1.21. I, I don't know. I think he is such a cornball, and it scares me because I didn't like McDaniels because I knew he would be a bad locker room fit. But I don't think that it should just be automatically, no, we can't bring in Russ Wilson. It needs to be part of the conversation.
Non-Raider question, as like
Hit me.
as we just talked about this with Raheem Morris now being in Atlanta. Is Belichick ever going to coach in the NFL again?
Oh boy. I don't think that he should. I think the longer and longer he coaches, the more and more he's just hurting his legacy. Like if he would have retired right after Brady left, it would be no doubt that he is the greatest head coach of all time. And I don't think people would have debated it. Now I'm not gonna lie, like I think it's worth the debate. And when you look at with Brady, without Brady, like numbers do not lie. And he has not had nearly the exact same success. And I get it. Tom Brady's gonna help out a lot of people, but if I was the Raiders, I would bring in Bill Belichick just to talk to him. Like, I think every single NFL team should do that. And it's not like you're not trying to bring him in to hire him because if you want to talk about a dude that was horrible in the front office GM, Bill Belichick was one of the worst out there. But if I was the Raiders, I would at least want to pick his brain and Brady's brain. Like, get them in the room together. Like, if you were running a business and somebody ran the greatest business of that, and whether you like to hear it or not, what Tom Brady and Bill Belichick did, that's the greatest dynasty that the NFL has seen to this day.
Right.
And maybe some people might disagree with that, but just to pick their brain on what did you guys do that was successful? Because obviously Mark values that because he hired McDaniels and Ziegler. And right now the Raiders have the one thing that nobody else does, Tom Brady. So just sit down in that room and just pick their brains, talk to them. Like, and I don't think that that's a bad thing to have. What you can't do then is be like, Belichick, we're going to hire and you're going to be in control of the draft. Like that's where Mark had to leave his emotions out of it. But to me, there's nothing wrong with the idea of at least bringing them both in and just say, hey, let's talk about it because they were able to build the greatest dynasty of all time. And I think if I was running a business and I saw somebody that was able to do something that I'm really trying to chase to do, well, what did you do to make where I'm trying to go? I don't think that's a bad conversation to have.
M85 said we have Coughlin and Brady in the same building. That's a trip. It definitely is. It definitely is.
Love it. That's awesome.
Shout out to old man Coughlin. That was the angriest old man I used to see on screen. Anytime the Giants was on out here, like that was the coolest old man. Though I'm glad he's in office. Look, him and Marvin Lewis have pretty much like over 100 years of football knowledge that they're going to pass on to AP, and he's definitely they're the guys that he can lean on now that he is a full-time head coach. He's talked about it in regards to delegating to the defensive coordinator, to the offensive coordinator, like ultimately let them control their phases of the game. And I'm here for it. He still has that energy. He's a leader in the locker room. He's a leader among these guys. And everybody in that room, everybody on that staff is going to war for him week in, week out. And you could take that to the bank right now. I'm excited for where we're at. Things can only look up, but it's going to start with on the offensive side of the ball, getting that offensive coordinator, and then ultimately making that decision on who's going to fit this offensive scheme and who's going to be the face of this franchise for years to come.
I got a question for you. How many subs you at? Because I've been like keeping track with you at 8K. If you guys haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I would love to be live here when it happens. I think that would be freaking legendary.
That would be an amazing birthday present, too. We're at 78-77, so 123 away from 8K.
Dude.
This has been a whirlwind since January 17th when all this news piled up. Last Friday to Let's Go earlier this week, just doing lives here and there, throwing out the shorts. We went up over 300, almost 400 subscribers in the last like, awesome. 10, 11 days. I was just like, oh my God.
Like, I mean, I think it's more about, be it consistent, always giving your opinion, whether people are going to like it or not. I think that's what it's about. But I'm a Raider fan through and through, more just because of how awesome of the connections that you're able to make with people that sure you maybe have never able to like sit down and shake their hand. And there's some people here in the chat that I have. I see David Zahn in the chat, but like, yeah, there's nothing better than Raider Nation. I don't care what anybody says. Daniel Caps Keenan there. That's awesome.
David Zahn hung out with us when we did the show on the Jersey Shore, and like he was the first one in the bar. Like I'm
Oh,
pulling up with
that
my
doesn't
gear.
surprise me at all.
I'm pulling up with my gear trying to set everything up, and he's like, "Hey, can I do this? Do you need help with that?" I was like, "Damn, bro! Like I really appreciate that." And then I've had a few that this last time I was out there, I was running into people, just having little conversations. They
Yeah.
didn't know who I was. Like we're talking football. I'm like, "Oh, you watch any of these guys on YouTube?" So I watch Mitchell Renz, I watch Graf, I watch Hammer. I look up, I'm like, "What's up?" They're like, "Oh shit." This is awesome. Shout out to Richard Otero for becoming a new subscriber. Thank you to Wyman Daniels for becoming a new subscriber. 7881, 119 away, y'all. Break them thumbs, hammer them subs, smash a bell. We have almost 300 in the chat. Again, this has been an amazing 10 days. I'm glad to have Mitch back in here. It's been 2
Yeah.
years since he's been on my show. I know you had me on as a guest when you were getting that ink done on the leg.
Yeah, that was wild, man. Well, which I didn't even like realize this because we brought it up the other day in the chat sports office. We hired three new people that day. Like not at, like it was their first day at work. So their first day at work was just some freaking random dude getting a I mean, it was gnarly. It hurt. I got to get the back done now, which I'm pretty nervous about, but uh, got to do what you got to do.
I just heard somebody the other day having a conversation about getting like the calf done, and they're like, "That shit hurts like hell," like the back of it, and I'm just like,
I mean, I'll tell you this right now. Like I've done a lot of area, like the arm, not like that's easy compared to the leg, but the kneecap, like the top of the knee, I think people who's never had a tattoo think it's going to feel the way that it feels on the top of your kneecap. Because I'm not kidding you, that was, I mean, it was unlike any tattoo pain that I've ever felt before. There was multiple times, and then I got the white in at the end. I'm telling you what, there was a few times where I was like, I'm in trouble.
you're seeing
Like,
stars.
I mean, it was, stars kind of what it reminded me of is like when I take a lot of pre-workout and I'm at the gym and I'm lifting a lot of weight. And then all of a sudden, like my eyes, like it's just like that, the spark, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I got that feeling on my kneecap. And I was like, I'm like, it was the first time I ever thought I might actually like pass out from the pain. I mean, it was, oh my God, that was hour 14. But that was nuts. It was cool though.
Two most painful ones I got were my elbows and my ribs. Ribs was a 5-hour job, and they tried to use that numbing cream, and I didn't feel like I still felt everything. I was making noises I didn't know I could make, and artist is like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "I don't know." Like that, but that was a pretty big ass piece too. But like that was probably the most painful one between that and the elbows. Those hurt like hell.
Yeah.
Where did I see it? Mitch, when are you gonna get the full body tat like Max?
Oh man, never, 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 never. No, I think once I want to get like this part of like my arm done, so I'm gonna get an angel here that's gonna resemble my aunt. So like my arm sleeve is all like my family, and then my leg sleeve is gonna be all about the nation. So I'm still trying to figure out what I want to get on the back of it. I have a few ideas on the back of my leg, but it's I'll always say this: I'll come up with an idea in my head and then I'll say it to the artist, and then they give me something 10 times better than I ever imagined, right? Like my leg piece, I thought about for a month. And I go, shout out to Sayer Tattoo. If anybody's out in Los Angeles and wants the guy that did my Raiders leg sleeve, Sayer Tattoo on IG, dude's an absolute legend, light hand, and he was moving like he's an artist, right? I gave him my idea and he threw it together. I'm not kidding you. In like 20 minutes, he was like, but it's just like that different level of creativity. It's just that different level of, they do it all the time, right? Like, yeah, it was just super, super smooth sailing. It was amazing.
Salute to Black Sales on the $5 super. Somebody from the Raiders gifted Hondo Black Air Forces. What up, Hammer and Mitchell? Like that. You know what's funny? I have a pair, but they're not all black. I have the gray and black ones, but I'm gonna have to get an all black pair when I go out there for next year's home opener, most definitely. I think
Yeah,
everybody that's going to be there needs to be in some black Air Forces. We're all united. Let it be known.
I love it.
If Champ is a GM, does that mean we lose PG? Wait, what? PG's not going anywhere right now. He's not. I
Yeah,
really don't think he's going anywhere.
yeah.
Didn't
The only way he's going is if he gets a head coaching gig with Seattle. But I don't think Seattle's going to hire him. Not because he's not worthy of a job. I think he absolutely is worthy of a job. They're going to go in a different direction. I think it's Dan Quinn. I think it's going to be Dan Quinn in Seattle.
let me see. 555. That's different, but I like it. Appreciate that, Sergeant
That's what
Pettit.
Sargent does. Sargent only sends in $5.55 super chats.
That's pretty dope. Keep up the great work, homies. It is great to see the nation united. Godspeed, Rated Nation for life. Triple nickel in the house. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Are those Jordans? The other ones I have are Jordans. Those actually, where are they actually? Let me show you these shits. Hold on, guys.
Go get them. I see Taino in the chat. For anybody that doesn't know, Taino is like one of our legends over at the Raiders Report. If you guys have never heard of the Raiders Report on YouTube, go check it out. Subscribe. We put out a lot of content over there. But Taino in the chat, I don't know if you know this, Hammer. If Taino down there, his profile pic is the Raiders Report. He got it tattooed on him, and then Jeremy's signature. He found Jeremy in Vegas. Jeremy signed his arm, and Taino got it tatted on.
That is sick. So
And that's insane.
these are the ones that I got. These are the winterized 8s. I got these before the last game. I rocked these out there. Early present for myself. This is like a Christmas present to myself, but I love these damn things.
Oh, man.
Let's see if anybody has any. You guys got any questions in the chat? Like, are you up for taking some phone calls? Like, I know that's something that's out of your norm. You up for it?
Yeah, I probably got 15, 20 minutes, and then I got to get going just because I gotta make some videos myself this morning. So
Get this going real quickly, guys. Y'all know what it is.
so they're gonna call in.
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Guys, y'all know what it is. I think let's make sure do not disturb is off. And I'm pretty sure it is. All right, so calls. Caption. And we already got our first. They don't mess around. They already have this number in their phones. Rated Nation News today. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Hammer? This is Steel Cage Savage.
What's going on, my guy?
What's going on, Mitch? You know I follow your show all the time.
Steel Cage, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, what's going on? So, man, it's good to see you guys doing the show together this morning. I was up about 6:45, pulled it up just to listen to you guys talk Raider stuff, man. I see it like this, Mitch, and I love what all the nation brings together on the draft, the free agency, the different thoughts, ideas. But I truly do believe, and I hear what you're saying, Mitch, about not wanting to get Penix with the 13th pick. But it's almost like the Anthony Richardson from the Colts thing. You know, I remember we watching your videos last year, and it's like, yeah, he's got so much development to do, but once the Underwear Olympics come around, he's going to rocket up these draft boards because teams need quarterbacks. And I just think that the injury history with Penix is serious, but I think once he throws that ball 70 yards down the field, and he shows some, decent agility and timing, he's going to rocket up these draft boards because even at this point, he's a 10 times better quarterback with the exception of health than Anthony Richardson. He's 10 times more accurate. He might not be able to throw the ball 80 yards down the field, but he can definitely push it 70. And I think he's going to rocket up draft boards at the Underwear Olympics at the Combine here next month. And before you know it, he's going to end up probably being the top 17 pick just because of that. So I don't want to wait on McCarthy. I'm in the boat with you, Mitch. I don't like Bo Nix at all. I think he's checked down Charlie. I mean, sure, can he develop? Maybe, possibly, but I want more of the, for sure thing. And I think Penix might not be the sure thing as Jalen Daniels and those other guys are. But he's closer but he's a lot closer than Bo Nix and McCarthy. That's for sure.
See, I actually think Michael Penix is going to fall down draft boards once the Underwear Olympics happens, and I just think that's more to do with recency bias because I actually think that when you look at the testing numbers, I think Bo might actually test better. I think Bo's going to test better than what people are going to give him credit for. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, even Drake May, they're going to test, I think, they're going to test really, really well. But what's going to happen with Penix is they're going to be like, all right, this guy's 23, almost 24 years old. That's going to be a problem.
Right.
On top of that, with the injury, like to me, the NFL, they are going to flag him for injuries. And once injuries start popping up, teams just get afraid, especially at the quarterback position. Like there's no doubt to me that he's special. But what if he's not 100% healthy? Like he left that national championship game bruised up, banged up. Like we know that he has a good arm, but if he's not really able to do a lot of other things, gets flagged for the medical, the age comes out. Like I actually think Penix should be a player that might fall because of the injury history, because there's going to be a team that says, I'm not drafting Michael Penix Jr. due to the extensive injury history that he's had. And he had these past 2 amazing seasons at Washington, no doubt about it. It was also with a stacked wide receiver group, the best offensive line in college football. And he kind of proved in that final game, when you hit him a lot, he's a lot different type of quarterback, and he's going to get hit in the NFL. Yeah. So I think Penix has a lot of upside. I really do. He could chuck it all over the field. But, again, it's just not where I would go if I was the Raiders.
What if we were to, grab – a place of defensive tackle, offensive line, right, with our first pick, and not move up? Would you be okay if we grabbed them, traded back up in the back of the first round and got them?
Again, I don't really. I want Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May. Like I would do everything in my power to try to get into the top 3. If that's not an option, then yeah, I would try to trade back, and then maybe you try to get a Bo Nix or Michael Penix. But to me, again, like that's not. I'm not starting those guys in year 1. Like that means you're hopefully getting a reliable veteran quarterback in free agency. And if that's part of the discussion, then if I'm the Raiders, you got to go best player.
I'm with you on that. I think this might sound funny, but 28 touchdowns versus 7 interceptions last year. I actually think Russell Wilson might be something that we need to look into more than Raider Nation is thinking about. He might be a better Raider than he was a Bronco. You know what I mean? I think it's just an option that we might really need to look into at quarterback. And that way, if you do draft a guy in the second round or third round, you can sit him for a year or 2, like you were saying, and really develop the guy, whoever it is going to be. But I'm definitely with you. I want to trade into the top 3 too, but knowing the teams that are there and how quarterback hungry all 3 are, I don't know if we'll be able to.
I hear you. Believe me, I hear you.
Give us some time, and we'll see. We'll see down the road what happens. Steel Cage, we're going to take some other calls. Appreciate you, bro, as always.
Thanks a lot, Hammer.
Take care.
All right, Mitch. Have a good one.
You too, brother.
Guys, you see it on the screen, 347-471-0361. Shout out to Beantown, the resident masshole in the building. Kind of off topic, but just wanted to let you know that me and the girls' offer on a house just got accepted. Nice to see the universe paying me back for the last 2 years of fighting. He beat cancer. Definitely has a very soft spot in my heart. You guys know what I dealt with a couple of years with Dad. Couldn't happen to a better guy, man. Congratulations, and wish you and the missus all the best moving forward. Raider Nation News today. What's your name? Where you calling from? Or not. Dead air? Come on, man. This is the lying time of the year. I feel nobody will text like the QB Milton. Hammer message from KJ. He's sick, but he said hello. Shout out to my little guy, KJ. I hope you feel better, little man. Raiders! Raider Nation News today. What's your name? Where you calling from?
David Zorn. What's up, fellas?
What's up, bro?
That's an evil laugh right there. Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
What's up, brother?
I feel like his service is going in and out. Dave, sound off, bro. We can hear you. Sound off,
right
bro.
Here, dude.
Sound off.
I'm here.
What you got?
Can you not hear me?
No, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. I have a question. I'm getting a lot of playback, but my question is, say we don't get into the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do we actually pull guy in the second round or later in the first round by trading up? And who are good targets for that? I'm gonna sign off and listen. Oh, and yeah, Raiders.
Appreciate
Love it. You go.
In regards to the teams that we could potentially make a deal with, I would say we could revisit the Giants like we did last year, but I don't know. I feel like that we kind of fleeced them a little bit with Waller. I don't know if they're going to want to do business with us right now.
I don't. Again, if I'm the Raiders, the only way that you're trading up to not anything in the top 3 is if it's on draft day and one of those top 3 quarterbacks slide down. Like, I don't think it's a smart move at all to trade up to anything that's not in the top 3, because you're going to give up a lot of draft capital, and then you're going to be in a spot where your quarterback might not fall to you. I know we say every year, like, trade back, trade back, trade back. It's not as easy as I think what people are just like, just trade back. To me, more than likely, you're going to take, like, if I think I know Telesco the way that I do, I could see him going with the offensive linemen in this year's draft are pretty freaking solid. If Joe Alt figures out a way to slide down to 13, I'm telling you right now, that's going to be their pick. I think he's the best offensive lineman in this year's class, and Telesco loves him some Notre Dame guys, so definitely something to keep in mind. But if I'm the Raiders, you got to go best player available or trade up to get one of the quarterbacks. And I felt like I just keep saying it over and over, but that's where I'm at.
I think having a guy like Telesco now, a conscious, smart football decision-making GM, a guy with the experience, like, he'll be the one that goes for best player on the board, not some of these guys that we had in the past, like Damon Arnett, Jonathan Abram, Alex Wood, like guys like that. But you know what? You have been talking about trading up within the top 3. Why not going at 4 and trying to make a deal with the Cardinals? They already have a quarterback, and I don't see Kyler Murray going anywhere anytime soon. They're probably on the line looking for somebody on the offensive line, maybe a receiver. Why not trying to pull the trigger on something like that and making a deal with the Cardinals?
Because you're not guaranteed a top 3 quarterback. Like, I'm not going to trade I think to get up to Arizona at number 4, let's say it's your first round pick this year, your third round pick this year, and then a first round pick next year, right? Like, I think that's probably what it would cost to go up to number 4.
Yeah.
And then what? Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Caleb Williams are all gone, right? Like, they're all gone. And now you're stuck at 4. Like, I'm not giving up all that to get, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a phenomenal receiver. He's probably my highest graded receiver that I've had in the last 2-3 years. Like, he is that special to me. Right. But you're not giving up all those picks to take a Marvin Harrison Jr. You're not giving up all those picks to take a Joe Alt. Like, if you're in that situation, then that's a catastrophic failure for not first time GM, but for our first year of our GM. Like, the only way you can move up to 4 is if one of those top 3 guys is there. And I don't know. Like, maybe you trade up to 4 and then you figure out a way to go from 4 up to a top spot, but I don't see how that happens.
Sheesh, who's up on a Saturday this early doing the live? Well, it's almost 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. And I know Mitch said he only had a few more minutes of time, so I'm going to let my brother go right now. We are 113 away from 8K. I know you said you got to do some videos of your own. You got to put out that content. So I'm going to stay on for a little bit longer. Mitch, thank you so much for pulling on up. And, you're welcome anytime. We'll definitely be talking a hell of a lot more throughout the offseason and picking our brains back and forth in regards to what's the next moves for the Raiders. Let them know where they can follow you.
You guys can hit me up at Mitchell Renz 365, IG, Twitter, Raiders Report on YouTube. And if anybody is out in Las Vegas for the big game, because I got to call it that, I'm going to be doing a big game watch party out there at Ahern Hotel. I think it's where you guys did like a draft party one time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be out there, pull up. We're going to have some awesome food deals, awesome drink deals. I'll be able to put out some of that information in the next few days. So be on the lookout for that. But If you want to party with Chugs and I, big game watch party, Ahern Hotel, February 11th, 2 hours before kickoff is what I would say. So if you're in the Vegas area, pull up love the time.
Are you guys? Are you going to be bringing the boot with you?
We are actually going to have. I bet you we're going to have like 10 to 20 boots at the bar. We're getting boots provided, so it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time.
Mitch, always a pleasure, and we'll definitely be talking soon, my guy.
If you guys don't hit that subscribe button and get hammered to 8K, I'm going to be one pissed off individual. Seriously, do it. The man's a great guy.
Appreciate
Hammer, I love you, man. Peace out.
Take care. There you guys have it. Mitchell Renz of Raiders Chat Sports. Like I said, we can hang for a little bit longer. If you guys want me to keep the vault line open, we can do that. So, this was something I talked about for a while, that I wanted to do the Royal Rumble, that I was going to do the watch party. Was supposed to do it with Big Mike, but we're not going to be able to do it. So, again, I'm going to hang out here for a little bit longer with you guys. If you want me to keep the vault line open, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up, and we're going to actually do a quick transition. I'm not going anywhere, but give me 2 seconds. We're going to do a quick transition here where, we're going to look like we normally do when we're live. Give me 1 second, guys. No dead air. Y'all know how that goes, but let's do this the right way. All right, there we are. There we are, guys. Y'all know what it is now. We back. We looking real good now. And I could actually take this chat. I could use this chat, or I could keep the other one, but I'll use this one for now. But you see, we got, where is it? No, actually, that part is not up. Let's take the overlay off. There it is. Shout out to James Friday. Welcome to the vault. And you see the number on the top right of your screen, 7892. We are 108 away from 8K. Y'all know the routine. And if y'all don't, I'm going to teach y'all real quick. Like I said, we had to put back what always works when we're in the vault and when we're in the house at Hammer Built. Break them thumbs. Hammer that sub. Smash the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, and reactions in the house at Hammer Built by the nation for the nation. Raider Nation News today. We still have over 300 in chat. I appreciate y'all. If you guys want to keep going with the vault line, let me know, and I will open it back up. And again, not going to be doing the watch party tonight. That's why I'm going to hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. But also, we talked about this throughout the week. There we go. That's a live moving ticker, so we know where we're at, guys. We talked about doing a giveaway. This is for members. The link is pinned in the chat if you guys want to become a member, continuing to support the channel, supporting what I do here. But I do have the wheel set up right now where we can do a giveaway if you guys are down for it. I may have to switch the screen back in a minute to the other look, but we can do a giveaway. I think there's like 38 or 39 names in there right now, and we could do that giveaway. The first of what's going to be many monthly giveaways. It was something that we did at the start when I first was monetized and was doing the memberships. Like I said, it could be gift cards, whether it be an NFL shop, the Raider image, even a Nike gift card or an Amazon gift card, or just some Hammers Raider Nation News Today merch, whatever you guys prefer. But yes, we are going back to that. So if you want to become a member, it's pinned at the top. Heard Raiders are interested in trading up for Caleb. A lot of people have been talking about that. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but we have a lot of time. And we're talking about trading up, and you heard what Mitch said before. Like, it's better to do it well in advance than doing it on draft day. We saw what happened with the Panthers and the Bears and the trade that was made. And that was quite some time before the draft. So he's absolutely right on that. And again, I think once we get the offensive coordinator in here, that Telesco, AP, and everybody else in that front office, Champ, of course, that they're going to come together and figure out, okay, what's next? How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna pull this off? Like, what do we need to do? Who do we need to call to try to move up and get our quarterback of the future? Only time will tell. How do you feel about trading Tay to the Jets for 2 first-round picks and trade? Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not trading him, especially that would be giving New York Jet fans, that would be giving New York sports media everything that they've been begging for and pretty much dragging out for the last couple of months. I'm not doing it. I'm absolutely not doing it because I'm not trying to have them be like, oh, we told you so, as many times as I've told them so with things that they have made up. Oh, Derek Carr is going to be traded to the Steelers. Oh, Derek Carr is coming to the Jets. Did any of those things happen? No. Stop. These dudes have nothing to talk about. And when their teams are out of it, they want to bring up everybody else. And of course, we're in the middle of it now. Oh, Tay is coming to the Jets. He's going to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Platinum Tier YouTube, link up right here. Appreciate you, Robert. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Heard it from Chicago Bear Live. Okay. What is M85? What is M85? What's personal for me? 107, y'all. 107. What's personal for me, my guy? And again, guys, if you want to call in right now, feel free to do so. I'll put the number back on the screen in 2 seconds. We've already been on for a little over an hour. I appreciate everybody that's been in here. We have it's showing on the top, well, at least on the other screen. We're at 281 right now. Appreciate y'all. I pulled on up so early this morning. Raider Nation News today. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What up? This is Little Tiger.
What's up, kid?
Oh, I had a question about moving up. So, what do you think about us moving up to number 2 with Washington?
They might be a team that's looking for a quarterback. I don't know. What are you willing to give up for that number 2 though?
I was thinking a first round, and it was 2 first rounds and a second.
2 first rounders and a second. This year's second or next year's second?
Next year's second.
I think it's
So
this
this year's. So yeah.
But I feel like they're gonna look like we saw the deal, and I gotta look this up now because I can't remember how this went down before. Excuse me. Panthers, Bears trade. Let's see how this played out. And they did this incredibly early. They did this in March. So, and that was about almost 2 weeks before the start of the new league year. But they traded a number 1 pick. The Bears traded a number 1 pick in exchange for 4 draft picks and DJ Moore. So here you go. This is probably, it's going to be something similar to this. The Bears received Carolina's first round selection at number 9, a late second round pick, number 61, a 2024 first round selection, and a 2025 second round pick. But you also have to take into consideration that with the Panthers, like they traded their top receiver. So it's like, are we really going to, that's something where it's like, shit, Tay may be in the mix. As much as it pains me to say it, like he may potentially be in the mix for something like that.
So what would you give up to move up to number 2?
I don't know if I would necessarily want to go that high. I probably would go with 2. I like your thought process, but I would, if I had to include a player, I would have to really reevaluate who we have on our roster of that type of worth moving up that high. But ultimately right now, I'm not putting Max Crosby out there because to me, he's a corner piece of this organization moving forward. Tay is, I don't know, man. I would not want it to happen, but if it's a move that made sense, I don't know. But you got people in here saying stay where you're at and everything.
Because I feel like in order to get Jaden Daniels or one of the top 30 quarterbacks, you have to move up to 1, 2, or 3. That's New England. That will be Washington or the Bears. So
let's just give it time, man. Again, we're still in the middle of the season. We're at the tail end, obviously, like conference championships tomorrow. The tag period starts next month. And then a little after that, we had the start of the new league year. But if the Raiders plan on trying to trade up, they're gonna have to do it early in the coming months. And like around that date last year was March 10th. They may have to do it just as early. But Little Tiger, definitely appreciate the call. I'm gonna take some other callers, bro.
I have one more question for you.
Go ahead.
So, are we still paying? What's his name?
Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
As of right now, we haven't heard anything different. We were thinking that being the situation being conduct detrimental to the team, that the contract will be null and void, but I have not heard anything, and I've been doing research on it several times and haven't heard anything on it. So I think as of right now, I think it's still on the books.
All right.
Take care, man.
Love the show. Have a good one.
Appreciate you. Shout out to Little Tiger. Bears now by Chat Sports. Raiders are reportedly interested in trading up for Caleb Williams. Okay. Again, it all depends on the right move and the right offer that we present to the Bears, if it in fact could even happen. And you just heard me go through the Panthers and Bears trade last year and what that consisted of. But again, like Mitch said, they have to do it early. They can't do it come draft day because it'll be a hell of a lot more difficult for them to try to move up into that top spot in an attempt to get their quarterback of the future. Those that are in here, if you haven't already, do me a favor. We are 106 away. Break them thumbs. Hammer that sub, smash the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, and reactions. Let's get this going, man. I would love to end this show being at 8K, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on for. Vault line is still open, 347-471-0361. I think Chandler Jones's contract is something Timmy T tried to figure out. I hope he does. I hope there's a way that we can find our way out of it and not eat the remaining money on that contract, because that would definitely kill us. And if it's something that'll help us in regards to freeing up more cap space, like I've stated before, we are currently standing at about $55 million in cap space. $5 million of it is right away allocated to the draft. So that puts us at $50 million in cap space to play around with this coming new league year. So we shall see how that plays out. That 623 number, if you want to call back, you can call back, my guy. Still open. Sorry. Oh my God. Y'all, Cowtown, you're killing me, man. Carolina is going to pay a toll for moving up that high. Now they have no route to fix the holes on their roster. Yep. Broke my thumbs 2 years ago. Callie, appreciate you, man. Wrestling has been all downhill since Stone Cold retired. Damn. Like I said, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do the watch party, unfortunately. And I'm sorry. I apologize to you guys for that. You know what? While we're still here, we've been on for a little over an hour. Let's change this back. 1 second. I love how it's just like seamless and it just transitions back right away. But let's do this real quick, guys. Like I said, we are going to do our wheel. We have 39 members as it stands right now. I got to get the other screen up wherever the hell it is. There it is. So I'm going to shuffle this bad boy. Somebody pick a number. Pick a number between 1 and 10. The first person to do that. And I'll take this call at the same time. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Raider Nation News today. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Hammer. I'm a truck driver, so I'm over the road. I'm driving to Albuquerque right now.
How you doing? Sound off, bro. What do you got to say?
All right, cool. Hey, I wanted to know, have you heard anything about the Khalil Mack? If we might be able to get him back because we got Telesco?
A lot of people have talked about it. I, at this point, don't think we need a guy like Khalil Mack, and no disrespect to him. Like, everybody was a huge fan of him when he was with us the first time around. But we have a guy in Malcolm Kuntz right now that has been a force on the opposite side of Max Crosby. He's going into the final year of his contract. I think that that's a guy that is going to be well kept for the next couple of years if he continues to do what he did the tail end of this past season.
Oh, that's cool. So you think Kuntz can be Khalil Mack, huh?
I think so. Look, they went to the same school. He's another product of Buffalo, so you never know. But opportunity presented itself once the handcuffs were off Patrick Graham in that defense, and we saw what he was capable of. So I keep Kuntz. I'm not worried about Mac. And at his age, I'm not trying to break the bank for a vet like that. Not him.
Oh, that's cool. That's some relief. That's some relief to hear from you, Hammer. I didn't listen to the whole show. I got the last end of when Mitchell Renz was there, but it's been a great show so far. As you have heard.
Really appreciate it.
That much, but
definitely appreciate it. If you get a chance, just watch from the beginning. It was another phenomenal show. We had a great one last night with Violator. Check that one out as well. But definitely go back and take a look at this show from earlier. Appreciate the call. I'm gonna get through this wheel real quick, and we'll see who the winner is. Have a great weekend and drive safely.
All right, cool. Thanks, Hammer.
Take care. All right, so you guys, I said the first person to do it. I'm gonna go by that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's spin this sucker. Congratulations to Ty Davis. You are our winner, our first winner of 2024 for our membership giveaway. Reach out to me on IG or X to claim your prize. Let's close that up real quick. And let's go back to where we were before, that smooth transition. I love how I can do this 1, 2, 3 and see my regular production. There we go. 4 away from 79. 4 away from 79, y'all. Break them thumbs. Hammer that sub. Smash the bell. Ty knows where to find me. So, we had the opportunity to meet Ty at actually the 2 lives that I did down at Bar A this past season. Ty was at both of them, so Ty knows how to get a hold of me. So congratulations to you, Ty. And again, reach out to me on IG or X to claim your prize. And again, if you guys want to be a part of that, the link is pinned to the top to become a member. We will be going back to doing monthly giveaways. Like I said, gift cards, Raider Nation News Today merch, whatever it is. It ain't that much. Like I said, either tier, you're automatically entered every month. So congratulations again to Ty. I don't think Russell Wilson is a Raider. I would rather Fields. Look, a lot of people were hyped when they heard about this thing with Russell Wilson, and I think it's because of the Russell Wilson of the past. Like the last 2 years, not so much. This season, towards the tail end, again, they had really bad losing streak at the start of the season. Then they went on a tear at about 6-2. And then once I guess they realized that the playoff hopes were kind of out the window, Sean Payton was like, "Nah, you're done. You're done. I'm gonna save money. I'm gonna save this team some money, and yeah, you can go elsewhere next year." And not really saving money because they're still gonna have to pay him a tremendous amount of money. So we'll see. Orlando, appreciate you. I'm at work now, but watching the show. Crosby and Mack would be a nightmare for the league. It would be, but I'm just not taking that. I'm not taking that chance, man. David Zone said, "Bro, better put me in that list because I'll be there every time." There you go. Shout out to Terry, the president of the Jersey Shore Raider Booster Club. I just text Ty. Okay, there you go. So now Ty knows now. Ty knows. So with Kamara and Crosby, check out Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State. Ooh. I missed a response earlier to the super chat. Who's your pick at interior D-line to complement Crosby Kuntz? Matabuki, Christian Wilkins, Chris Jones, or Leonard Williams. Those have been my 4 guys. And I've been talking about them for quite a long period of time. So we're going to see what happens. But those are my guys on my list. And then, like I said, Jalen Johnson is another guy I would love to have here. Hammer, no, no word yet on OC. Are they done interviewing? Do you think? So, Rich, I think that you just came in. There is a list right now for these guys to be interviewed. You had Alex Van Pelt, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike Sullivan, Thad Lewis, Luke Getsy and Zach Robinson. Now, Mitch said that he believes Zach Robinson is going to end up being the next offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons. And talking about this, just like the vacant spots right now for the head coaching positions in Seattle and Washington, I do believe that the Raiders are going to make a decision either Monday or Tuesday. Once these conference championship games are completed, we will probably hear something on who our next offensive coordinator is going to be. And you guys know, once I get an alert, some notification, or a message from somebody, I will make sure to drop a very quick short giving you guys that update. And then, of course, within probably a few hours after that, because normally I get these alerts while I'm at work, we will be live to break it down and discuss everything with each and every single one of y'all. So again, I believe Monday, Tuesday, we'll ultimately hear who the next offensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders will be. Stay tuned. What about Newton, Byron Murphy, and Sweat? So, Cowtown, we are talking about free agents. And if you know me, you know who my college team is. And you have two guys on that list right now. I would take 1A1. I would take either Byron Murphy or Sweat. Newton is going to be a guy that is drafted in the first round. He is the top defensive tackle prospect going into this draft. And Sweat and Byron Murphy is a toss-up between 2 and 3. I've seen different analysts, different websites have them back and forth between the 2 and 3. And Cowtown is saying Murphy is better than Sweat. I would take either or. I really would. The size of Sweat, you guys have heard me talk about that. He's a dog, man. He is a dog. And I much rather get one of these guys in free agency. And then, yes, I'd revisit the draft and get another one of these guys, have a constant, nasty rotation on the interior. It's a wrap. Quarterbacks are not going to want to stay in the pocket too damn long. And if they do, they're going to be on their backs. Shout out to Ty Davis Hammer. I was told I won something. Bro, you're a member and you just won a monthly giveaway. Congratulations to you. He pulled up right away. I won something? Yeah, you won, bro. Congratulations. They interviewed Cliff on Friday. I find it interesting that Elite came out to graph the day that they interviewed Cliff. I think the source is legit, but the info is likely a smokescreen. I'm not too sure. I really, the only time I was on was last night. I really didn't have the opportunity to read too much into anything yesterday. I was grinding at work. There was so much that was going on. So I didn't get to read too much into it. I knew of Cliff's interview yesterday. But again, we heard what AP said in that introductory presser a couple of days ago. And he was talking about the old school offense of the Raiders and was talking about airing it out. Cliff Kingsbury? Didn't say his name, but kind of sounds right. So we'll see, man. We will see. What would you do? Shout out to Brave. Hammer, what would you do if we drafted Nix in the second and draft Penix in the fourth? That I don't think that's even remotely possible. I do think that all those quarterbacks, obviously Caleb, May, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, I think they're all going to be off of the board in the first round. Like the next quarterback that's going to come after them is going to be in the second round, and that's going to be JJ McCarthy. He said, I'm winning at work. What? Shout out to Raider Man. Hold on. Give me 1 sec, Raider Man. Bears report reported Fields and Getsy didn't get along this season for his release. So that was the thing, Callie. And I mentioned this a while back in regards to we'd be interviewing Getsy. But Getsy was fired. And there were reports out there during the season that Fields and Getsy weren't getting along. So I'm like, there's no way that they would have these guys reuniting in Vegas. And again, in regards to Getsy's offensive scheme, it was more run. They led the league the last 2 seasons in rushing yards and rush attempts. And that includes Justin Fields. So I don't know. It's kind of weird right there. It's kind of a touchy subject with that situation. Shout out to Raider Man on the $2 Hammer. Your list of OCs and is Eric? No, Bieniemy's not on it for off the field matters that the Raiders would not give him a chance. And we've talked about that for several years now when he has been a candidate for a head coaching position as well. Ultimately, I thought Bieniemy was going to be the successor to Ron Rivera, just as I thought that Kellen Moore was going to be the successor to Staley with the Chargers. But obviously, those things definitely went the complete opposite way. Harbaugh is now the head coach with the Chargers. The Commanders are going to probably make a decision on who their next head coach is going to be in the coming days after the conclusion of the conference championship weekend. So salute to everybody in here. Did I miss something here? No, I got everybody in here. All right, so we did a winner. We have a winner. Shout out to Ty Davis. We have been on for an hour and a half. I kind of want to just try to sit here and wait at least for these next two because we're 2 away from 7,900. We're 102 away from 8K, y'all. Tell everyone you know. Let's get this. My birthday's tomorrow. This would be the best birthday present ever from you guys, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Still 251 in the chat. If y'all want to keep rocking, we can keep rocking. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. They'll probably float across the screen anyways. Let me see if I'm missing anything else on here right now. I don't think I am. I was looking at Twitter before to see if anything broke, but I really do believe that you're not going to see any other front office or coaching hires to be made until after this weekend. But I think there was one that did happen not too long ago, actually. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I saw something before. Let me see the recent notifications. All right, so an hour ago, the Bears have hired Eric Washington as their next defensive coordinator. And the Browns hired Jacques Cesare as their defensive line coach. Those two happened within the last hour. But again, I do think that ultimately, like, these are us and then Washington and Seattle looking for their head coach. I think that we're going to hear something in the next couple of days. The Falcons are retaining special teams coordinator Marquise Williams per source. I don't think there's anything else that's happened. And then you guys know Sharon Moore, who's the OC at Michigan, stepped in as interim during Jim Harbaugh's suspension, is now the new head coach at Michigan. Here's one from 2 hours ago. Texans QB coach Gerard Johnson has a second in-person interview with the Saints for their OC job today. And that was reported by Ian Rappaport a little over an hour ago. So that's pretty much the most latest and most up-to-date around the league news. So, we did it. 7,900, y'all. 7,900. We are officially 100 away from 8K. Spread the word and spread the word like wildfire, y'all. What's your notable upcoming dates and events? Are you talking about the league or my? If you're talking about the league, let me get it. Because I did talk about this a couple of times. We have the start of the, what do you call it? The tag period, which will be February 20th, I believe. Yes, February 20th starts the tag period. You have the scouting combine February 27th through March 4th. You have the deadline for the tag on March 5th. You have the UFA not represented ordeal March 11th through the 3rd. Trading period begins on March 30th. The 24th through 27th is an annual league meeting. But we also have hold on. 2024 league year and free agency signing period begins at 4 p.m. New York time, March 13th. So the 11th through the 13th is kind of going to be that tampering period. First day of the new league year ends at 11:59 on March 13th, New York time. March 13th, clubs will receive personal notice that will include all transactions submitted to the league during that time. And again, the annual league meeting, March 24th through March 27th in Orlando. And then we have the draft 25th through 27th in Detroit, which we should all be out, boots on the ground, doing our thing out there. You guys are going to want to stay tuned for that. Daniel Kim on the 999 super. Happy early birthday, brother. Raiders. Happy early birthday. Shout out to you. Thank you, Dodgers. No, not yet, Ty. Any receivers coming out in draft you're looking at? No, because I don't think we need receivers. I think our receiving depth chart is just fine right now. 7,900, 7,902. Let's go, y'all. Shout out to David Zone on the 49.99 Haymaker. Happy birthday, bro. Hit that sub button. Let's get 8K. Talk that shit, bro. Appreciate you. Celebration, bitches. Enjoy yourselves. Congrats, Hammer. 100 more for 8K. There we go. I'm honestly staying home for the most part. I do have a birthday party to go to tomorrow for one of my nieces, but low key, it's not a big to do. I think when I get to 40, that'll be something to celebrate. But this isn't much for me to be like, yeah, like I'm just chilling. Shout out to Michael Rogers. Thank you for becoming a new subscriber. Daryl, thank you. Now I got to go through everybody in here. Congrats. Let's get our brother to 8K and then 10K. Daniel Kim, appreciate you, man. Hammer, your notable dates, plans for Raiders content, like for scouting combine, free agency and stuff. So, Taino, I'm probably going to be on at least 2-3 days a week. Again, if anything breaks, obviously, like I said, I'll do a quick short and then eventually go live with more detailed information on it. And that's probably going to happen anytime anything breaks. But if there's other like articles and stuff to discuss with you guys, we'll do that. But like I said, it's probably going to be like 2-3 days a week. And of course, like I'm still going to continue to do what I've been doing recently in regards to the content that I have been pushing out over the last like 10 days. And again, the monthly giveaways, we're going to be doing that on a regular basis. So stay tuned for that. What do you think about this free agent plan? I want to hear this. Hunt, Johnson, Wilkins, Patrick Queen, or Murray Jr., Winfield to replace Epps. Then the draft can be used to address any needs still. I like Epps. Epps and Merritt did a phenomenal job as a safety tandem this past season, so I'm not going to look at a safety. Robert Hunt, of course. Jalen Johnson, bet your ass. Christian Wilkins, a guy that's been on my radar. I wouldn't mind it. Linebacker. I have a strong feeling that the Ravens are going to try to do by any means necessary to try to retain Patrick Queen. He's done a really, really solid job as a linebacker. That dude is just, that speed on him, man, is just insane. Shout out to Callie. Proud Papa, watch Hammer grow from a young 100 to 7,900. Callie, I appreciate you. This is actually, we just finished up. Obviously, we're in a new year already, but we started this December, like around COVID time. So like December 2020 and January 2024. We're over 7,900. And it doesn't happen without you guys. So thank you. 96 away. Appreciate you guys. I really, really, really appreciate each and every single one of y'all. All the birthday love. I appreciate y'all, man. I really appreciate y'all. Oh, Hammer, first it was wasted, then graft. Now welcome to the Get Off My Lawn Club. I'm not 40 yet, man. Not yet. Still got some time. Shout out to David Martinez on becoming a new subscriber. Appreciate you. Smash the like. Will Hammer smashes something else tomorrow? Oh my God, I can't. What is your surprise for men and women's Rumble? So it's the 40th anniversary. It's in Tampa. Hulk Hogan's going to make an appearance. I think Michelle McCool actually is going to make an appearance because I've already heard reports that she's going to be in there as an entrant. I think Rey Mysterio might come back. I think he might cost Santos Escobar. He's going to find a way to eliminate him. I think Hulk Hogan makes an appearance. I think we might see The Rock make an appearance. After everything that's transpired this week with the WWE, their new deal with Netflix starting in 2025, Vince McMahon resigning late last night. Yeah, I think The Rock might make an appearance. And who's to say that I'm looking at this whole situation with Seth Rollins right now because it's saying he might be out for a few months. I have a feeling they may end up creating like a tournament or something for the heavyweight title on Raw. And we might see Cody Rhodes and CM Punk at WrestleMania. If Rollins so happens to be back in time, you might see a triple threat match for the title. But if The Rock appears tonight, who's to say that he doesn't win the Rumble and go to Mania to face Roman Reigns? That would be insane. Damn, the shade. The shade. We got to trade down and solidify the O-line. We could do the O-line between both the draft and free agency, my guy. Shout out to Justin. I'll be 42 this year. 40 was definitely a big one. Yeah. I'm not. To me, tomorrow, I feel like tomorrow's going to be just another day. Damn, I missed it. 8:30 on the Nick. Just rewatch, man. Again, when me and Mitch set this up, he's the one that had told me he needed to get on a little early, so I said no problem. It's 10 a.m. Actually, it's 11:35 on the East Coast right now. So for me, it was fine. Like I woke up at 8:30 and did some finalizing, so it was good. Trying to get hammered to 8K. Let's do this. Raiders 95 to go, y'all. Screw it. Nah. Appreciate you pulling up, guys. For those that miss it, like you guys always rewatch if you can. Like I know you guys enjoy the content. Hit the bell though. For those that haven't, because I've had people that told me they had problems with this before. But hit the notification bell so you guys know like there's a new short that was put out or I'm going live, like just to stay up to date. This year's draft is loaded with offensive linemen. Yeah, it's drafted. It's deep. It's loaded with offensive linemen and it's loaded with defensive linemen. Like this draft class is all about the line, but also those quarterbacks. Those are going to be some elite level quarterbacks, especially if they are in the right places and have the right coaching staff to develop them. Big Mike Canton. What do you think of Joe Milton? His highlights got me juiced. I haven't looked at it yet. I haven't seen any of his highlights. So I'm gonna when I finish here, I guess I'm gonna have to do some homework again, which is fine. We'll revisit that the next time I'm on. But I think after this live, like I said, I'll probably throw some shorts up. Well, I probably won't be live until at least Monday or Tuesday. Will Jade Cargill ever stop modeling? Actually, it's not really up to her. They've had her in the performance center. She might be somebody that pops up tonight. I kind of hope it happens. Maybe you get a little stare down with her and Bianca Belair, or another stare down with her and Charlotte Flair. I would be excited to see that though. She was a dog in AEW. She really was a really solid performer in AEW. Raiders go for both sides of the line before any QB. I think they're going to address both sides of the line in free agency when the new league year starts. And then I think they focus on the quarterback in the draft. But again, they're going to have to make a trade up as early as possible. So we'll see how that plays out for them. 2 first, a second next year, and a third this one. Hold on. 2 first, a second next year. I wouldn't mind that. That would be one that makes the most sense right now. I like that one. I like that idea. You're absolutely right. They do. All right, guys. 95 away. For whatever social media platforms you are on, and those that aren't following me, you see them on the bottom of the screen. Spread the word. Spread the word like wildfire. Let's run this up. 95 away from a huge milestone for me. We're getting closer. We're getting a hell of a lot closer. So I appreciate y'all. On your way out, if you haven't already. Oops, I almost hit the wrong button there. Break them thumbs. Hammer them subs. Smash the bell to stay up to date with all your Raiders news, rumors, updates, live streams, and reactions in the house that Hammer built by the nation for the nation. Raider Nation News Today. Continue to stay safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. COVID is back and on the rise. Remember to wash your hands and your asses. And as always, win, lose, or tie, Raider Nation till I die. Till next time, y'all. Peace, love, and positivity. I'm outro.